All right, we're going to be diving into something that's extremely fun because it's going to be giving you an opportunity to really express your personality and give your audience an opportunity to relate with you. We talked a lot about how we wanted to create opportunities and different segments and how we relate with our clientele. We haven't really dove into how we get our clientele to relate with us. And this is where the backdrop is going to be an amazing opportunity for you to be able to display this. And I don't want to put too many guidelines on the backdrop because I think this is a great way for you to be creative with it. For example, my backdrop for countless times over the last 2 years was my basketball, and it still is to this day. This is the isolation piece that I was talking about. And we'll talk more about this when we're actually at the kitchen table, but an isolation piece is not the same as a conversation piece when we're going into the event planner. The isolation piece is one item that no matter what, something you're so passionate about, that you're so happy to talk about, and you can spark up a conversation and stories and just like that. That's what your isolation piece should be. For me, I grew up playing basketball. I love basketball. Basketball has taught me so many things as far as foundational responsibility, accountability that I bring in, day out of my professional career. Playing university collegiate level has given me that opportunity to exploit that on greater levels, and I bring that with me every single day. And that's where the basketball comes into place. But the basketball is not just a basketball, it's a very special basketball. It's signed by my favorite player as a child growing up. And this is a homecoming or a home welcoming gift for myself. And as you can see, I love talking about it, and I can talk countless hours about it because I love basketball and I love diving into those things. And these are great opportunities to take away any sort of awkwardness when it comes to virtual events. If you run out of things to talk about, if your clients don't know what to talk about, very often I'm going to get a question saying, hey, what's the basketball and the backdrop all about? And that's what your isolation piece is going to be about. Okay, so let's dive into the importance of the backdrop as we get into this, of course. So confirming the backdrop, I want you to be mindful as a virtual professional, you need to keep your backdrop professional and subtle. Don't feel that you need to be claustrophobic. I've had a few clients where their backdrop is filled with a bunch of books, and it's okay, but it creates a very small and very condensed look to it. So these are very important things to be mindful of. Professional, I don't want you to be having any sort of sales goals, any sort of terminology in the backdrop that may cause some sort of just uncomfortableness when it comes. I was in a situation, for example, where the client had top targets to close for 2021, and they had all of the company's logos in their backdrop, and I love that, and we talk about this downstairs. However, as a viewer, that makes me quite uncomfortable because I'm looking at that individual as, oh, that's just a salesperson, right? It's no longer Garrin Bulani the human. It's just, oh, here's another sales guy. And this is what happens when you're in virtual events. You want to humanize yourself to your audience so they can relate with you and they can have a more personal connection with you as the host. So professional and subtle is my highest recommendation when going into that. And I'm going to let you run all out with that. I'm not going to give too many more guidelines with that. If you are unable to create a professional backdrop, you need to be getting a green screen, a virtual backdrop, something where you can hide your surroundings, where if you're in a place where you're not comfortable with your backdrop, rather than just using the virtual backdrop, because when you use just the virtual backdrop, it's still going to give you the phrase in your body. It's gonna still see through as you move. We've all seen this stuff before. Investing in a high quality green screen is going to give you that opportunity where you can be anywhere. You can be in your mom's basement. You can be in the bathroom. You can be in GB3 Studios. You can be in the library, and you look uniform. So if you are unable to be in a position where you have to use a virtual backdrop, I strongly recommend investing in a green screen. Again, Elgato is a phenomenal company to be able to get you the high quality green screens that you're looking for, so you can really use that virtual backdrop and it can really create that separation from you and the actual green screen. please stay away from aggressively motion graphics and extremely bright colors. It's very hard for our brain to process what's going on when we're staring at something through a computer screen. What's even worse is if we have to stare at a backdrop that makes us dizzy or makes us queasy, or if it's filled with bright lights that makes us feel uncomfortable, right? These are the things, and I highly recommend anytime you use a virtual backdrop, use subtle colors, use darker colors, use minimal motion so you're not making your audience queasy and they can still focus on you. I highly recommend staying away from bright backdrops. Bright lights like this for long periods of time, you're going to give your audience a headache. It's very hard to constantly stare at white light and light backdrops for a long amount of time. When we talk about virtual professionalism, we want to synchronize human face-to-face contact as much as possible. And if you're causing strain on your audience because you're using a backdrop such as this, or you're having motion graphics such as that, you're going to have them, they're going to disconnect from your presentation. They're not going to want to listen to you, and they're sure as heck not going to enjoy the experience. So please, you can see the difference. A very white backdrop to a very dark backdrop, and significantly easier to view on the eyes. So when you have darker backdrops, you can hold your clients and your audience attention for a little bit longer, right? Stay away from these, avoiding really, really bright backdrops, okay? So let's do it. Let's head on over to the coach's corner and let's go over a recap on this. All right, so let's get into this. Obviously, when we're talking about the backdrop, please, I don't want to harp too much on this because I want you to be creative with your backdrop. Let your audience know who you are. Set yourself up with some shelving units to be able to put some of your favorite pieces behind you. Find yourself that ISO piece, something that you're confident talking about, and something that you can allow your viewers and your audience to relate with you or bring up that conversation so they can relate with you, okay? Have that isolation piece. Please keep it professional, right? Be mindful of the region that you're presenting in, right? Even up in Canada, if I'm presenting to something down in the southern states, or if I'm across the pond in London, there's different things and different items that mean different things in different parts of regions. Okay, so I'm sure you can put two and two together. Be mindful of those kind of things so you're not in an awkward situation with that. Professional and subtle, right? You want to have a good backdrop, but you don't want the backdrop to take away from you. We're here to see you as the audience. We're here to see you as the host. I want to be able to look back, view your backdrop, find some things I can relate with, and then focus back onto you. Okay, so don't make it too busy. Don't make it too distracting, right? Avoid white lights and bright backdrops, and stay away from heavy motion. Okay, I like motion. I think motion can be a good, especially for virtual backdrops, I think motion can be a very, very dynamic piece to bring in. However, if it's too fast and if it's too moody, you might make your audience sick. So please make sure if there is motion, it's extremely slow and it's extremely slight, right? ISO, professional and subtle. Don't use your white and backdrops. Do not, right? It's hard on the eyes, okay? And then of course you're gonna want to avoid any sort of heavy motion. Listen, confirming your backdrop, have some fun with it. And please, I encourage you, if you set up your backdrop, send me an email, info@garrinbulani.com. I would love to see your backdrop, and I'm happy to sit down with you in your home studio and give you any sort of custom recommendations that you may like. If you do have questions on what you want to add for your backdrop, if you think it's a good idea, if you don't think it's a good idea, feel free to reach out to me, info@garrinbulani.com, and we can set something up accordingly. So we got it up in the coach's corner. Come on now, we got my favorite part, checking stuff off. Let's go do it now. So we doing this thing, and this is why we always take pride in professionalism, confirming the backdrop. Come on now, boom, pow. Poof. Woo! How you like me now? Confirming your background. You already got it now. And this is what really gets me excited about all this, because the more I check this off, the more I feel prepared and the more confident I'm going to feel going into my virtual meetings. And that confidence is going to relay with your audience, and that's what's going to help you deliver a more engaging presentation. Of course, when you're able to ask for the sale, you can shorten your sales cycle because you feel that confidence, your audience is going to feel that confidence, and you enjoy your backdrop. Hey, you already know how we're doing it. We're pumping through this thing. We're getting close to the end, but we're not there yet. I got to get some stuff configured up here. Let's go back down to the kitchen table. We're going to go over the next segment and, of course, come back up here and we're going to talk about the theory of it all. So we'll see you soon, and we'll talk to you shortly.